Today I want to talk about what makes someone a good leader. Different people may have different definitions or criteria for what a leader qualifies as a good leader. And there are many studies and research which give us a list of qualities that they have identified in good leaders. First of all, I want to draw a distinction between a leader and someone who is in a leading position. What I believe is that you don't need to be in a leading position to be a good leader. I have known many people who were not in a leadership position but displayed many qualities of an amazing leader. That just means that they are every day preparing and getting ready so that when a position of leadership opens up, they can fit right in and apply those qualities. I have also known people in a leading position but who, let's say, did not display many qualities that a good leader has. An emphasis on did not display because they might have had some but simply did not put them to display. Although, if I'm being completely honest, I find that hard to believe. Now, I haven't led any teams. I have worked with many different teams, during which I have inevitably been exposed to many people in a leading position, and during other experiences, such as teaching undergraduate level students and working on my own business, have made me aware of what I need to work on in order to be a good leader myself. But what I have done over the years is I have learned a lot from good leaders, amazing leaders who were in a leadership position, and I have learned a lot by people who were in a leadership position but who were not good leaders. All those qualities that I have seen and that I liked in different people, I've tried to cultivate them in myself during the entire time that I have been working. Other qualities that I did not like, I have tried to understand them more, go deeper into those individuals' perspective, and at the same time I try to keep my eyes open because sometimes what we don't like in someone else ends up being part of us. What we continuously learn when we're attentive and putting ourselves out there regularly is what or how we want to be and how we don't want to be. I'll tell you a story which maybe has already been exhausted, but which I think describes what I mean by what I just said better than any other story or example. This is a story of two brothers who had an alcoholic father. These two brothers grew up to be one an alcoholic, just like his father, and the other never touched a drop of alcohol. When asked why they turned out the way that they did, the brother who became an alcoholic said, "With an alcoholic father, how else could I have turned out to be?" Guess what the other brother said? "With an alcoholic father, how else could I have turned out to be?" This is a story that teaches us about perspectives, but we can also view it as a story that teaches us to pay very close attention to the people around us, especially those that we hold dear, and to their qualities as well, and make a distinction between those qualities of theirs that we like and we'd like to have ourselves, and other qualities that we don't like and hence we don't want to have. When I think of this, I can very easily think about relationships. When I was growing up, you don't understand anything when it comes to love and romantic relationships, obviously, but as you grow up, you learn little by just observing the people around you. In my life, I always had my parents that I looked at, my grandparents, my uncles with their relationships and eventually wives. I didn't need to be in a relationship of my own to know that I really wanted to feel appreciated and heard, because I saw what this was like for the people in my life. Or I didn't need to be in a relationship of my own to know that I didn't want my significant other to belittle me in front of others. I learned what I would like and wouldn't like in my relationships, and also what I would like and would not like my partner to have, by just looking at the people in my life and their relationships. It is exactly the same thing when it comes to the workplace. We all want to be a leader and not necessarily to be in a leading position. And we can become one by learning what qualities we want to have and what qualities we don't want to have by looking at others. So the first thing that makes a leader a good leader is they emanate the qualities that they believe makes them a good leader. Number two, they give more than they take. This starts with listening. A good leader listens before they make a decision about an employee. They don't assume things. We can't possibly know what anyone else is going through unless we ask. Sometimes, even when we ask someone, showing that we're worried about them, they might lash out. That is still not a reason to be hasty in our opinion of them or in any decision that we might need to take. We should give people more than one chance. In this case, if the other person is angry, take some time and give them some time to calm down. Someone who is worth giving chances to will be the first to come back to you after they've calmed down. And they will sit down and discuss with you openly. Now, if they're at the point where they feel completely at ease talking to you about what they're going through, you should remove any expectation or judgment that you might have about how the discussion should go and what they should say. Just be open about it. Accept anything that they might tell you for what it is, what they are dealing with, what they think, and how they feel. It's about them. You, as a good leader, are there to listen to them and try to help them as much as you can. Number 3, a good leader always motivates, never brings down. Motivation does not have to be all that you can do it BS. Motivation is also not the same for different people. For example, the boss telling one of his developers, we need to ace this project, it will generate X amount of money for us. It will not motivate the developer to give the project their all. The best motivation has to be intrinsic, something that makes the person themselves feel good. This is why when we want to motivate people, we need to look for what will motivate them, not us. The developer may be motivated to work better on the project because they wanted to get better at the programming language that they're using for this project. This will motivate them to work hard. So telling them something like, we need to ace this project, by the end of it, you will have mastered the language. Will do a way better job at motivating them. Some people may think, well, if motivation is intrinsic, then relying on self-motivation should suffice. This does work, but only for those people who have a high level of motivation consistently. Even these people might have times when they lack motivation because of a personal issue or any other reason. As a good leader, when we see someone lacking motivation, we should jump in and try to motivate them. If we don't know what motivates them, then we ask them. As simple as that. Sometimes, what can motivate a person is giving them a helping hand. If, for example, they are feeling overwhelmed to start working on something, what we can do is sit down with them and work together for just a few minutes or with one or a few ideas. That will jumpstart them, and that's all that they need. The thing is, by knowing our employees, peers and superiors, we know what motivates them and what challenges them. When we see that they are facing a challenging moment, then we immediately get to action mode and use our knowledge about them to help them get motivated. Number 4, share stories. Whenever you want to influence people, the first thing that you need to use is stories. If you want to motivate them to do better, you can tell them one of your own stories or the story of someone that you know that will encourage them to want to do better. If they are having issues with a client, share with them a story that will show them how even the most difficult client issues can be handled well. The more specific the story is, the more it will do its job. The most influential people that I have seen, including people that I know and people that I admire from afar, are amazing storytellers. Now, I have already talked about storytelling in another video, which I'll link it up right here so that you can check it out. Number 5, focus on solutions. There are people in a leadership position who focus on problems. If the project is not progressing as it should, they will jump in and ask what the problem is. Oftentimes, though, the reason why they ask and want to know what the problem is to get their employees moving or to find the one who is to blame. They're the kind of leader who says, I don't care what the problem is, fix it. A good leader is one who not only wants to find the problem, but also a solution to the problem. They might not have the time, for example, to dedicate themselves entirely to finding the solution, but they will include themselves in the process. They may have come across a similar problem in the past, so they might know how to solve it. They could ask a friend who has had the same issue. They could brainstorm with the team to come up with alternative solutions, but they will play a significant part in the process. When we're solution focused, we not only are quicker to solving the problem, but we're also showing our availability and commitment to any problem that our team may have, because we are part of the team as well. This does not mean that people will now come to us with small issues that they may encounter day to day. On the contrary, people will appreciate and respect our time more and depend on us for problems that cannot be solved by them directly. Number 6, keep track of progress. Nobody's perfect. What we should be able to see is progress. Each of us can have a difficult period in our life, be it because of a problem in our personal life, financial issues, or sometimes just overload and burnout. We should be able to make a distinction between someone who just isn't performing and isn't getting better, and someone who is just going through a hard time right now. Use reports and metrics in evaluating each employee, and also your personal experience with them. On a regular basis, you need to give feedback. Feedback needs to be as specific as possible. Telling someone you need to do better does not show what the other person needs to work on exactly. You need to pinpoint what it is exactly that they need to change or improve on. And finally, number 7, know when to stop giving. Sometimes the relationship between a leader and their employee does not work. And that could happen for a number of reasons. The leader, after giving some time to the employee and putting in some conscious effort to help them, comes to the conclusion that the employee does not show a promising progress. The employee could find difficulties in communicating with or working with the leader, or the leader and the employee are just not a good fit for each other. A good leader knows when it is worth working with an employee, give them one or more chances, and when to cut the ties. This list of 7 items, which I believe make a good leader, is far from exhaustive. I am always on the lookout to learn of other qualities that make a good leader, maybe qualities that I have not thought of before or that I haven't noticed, and also to modify, even just slightly, if need be, qualities that I already have. We are always a work in progress, not only as leaders, but as human beings as well. So we can always learn something new and discard something that we no longer consider to be important or which is no longer valid for us. I will see you guys in the next week's video.